Welcome, my friends, to the Red All Over Away End Show with me, Andy Simcox. This show is a companion to Red All Over's main preview show and affords me the opportunity and gives me the greatest pleasure to talk to friends old and new about their club. We look at their team's strengths, weaknesses, style, formation, how the season's going so far, what players we should look out for, and much, much more. Strap yourselves in. Roll the titles. This is yet another Red Clover Away End show, but this time, it's with Burton Albion, and the incredible, the legend that is Edward Walker, or as I know him, Ed. Welcome, Ed. Tell us about yourself before we start talking about the match. Tell us about yourself and what you do.
You've used far too nice words there, Andy.
I'm bullying
Far
you
too
up.
nice.
I'm bullying you up. That's all.
You're butting me
I'm
up, certainly
setting
for
you
that.
up. I'm setting you up for a fall. Don't worry, Ed.
My name is, if you're not aware, my name is Edward Walker. I spend far too much time each season going to football games all across the country. I get criticised for not doing enough on my own team, but so be it. That's the way. I just like getting around, seeing other teams, learning about the players that way. I have a very keen interest in football and have thought as many years as I can remember now. I think we're all football fans at heart, and I'm in the process of trying to turn my hobbies into a passion, into a career, which would be a lovely thing to do. And we work our way through it and see how that goes.
I'm trying to become bit Gabe Sutton. Is that what you're saying? Or an Appers? Is
I
that where
haven't
you're
got the
going with
height
it?
to be Gabe Sutton, but maybe other bits can work that way.
No, 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 nobody has.
He's a very
Ed,
tall guy,
nobody has.
very big guy.
Well, as a Burton fan, what one thing I've got to ask you before we even start: do you drink beer? Because if you don't drink beer, how can you support the Brewers? Every beer I know seems to be brewed in Burton.
Shall I just leave the call now? Is that the best way to do this? I am probably the only non-alcoholic Burton fan out there. I understand it's basically what the town is entirely known for. I'm in the town right now as we're recording. I moved to the place last December,
Oh,
so
lovely.
all the breweries all around. Nestle factory down the road, which is a smell you don't want to put up with if you ever go to Hatton, north of Burton. Don't ever do it. That's my advice. Don't ever drive through that place if you ever get the chance. No, I know it's the town's heritage, what it's known for. It's the football club's nickname, but I'm not one of the active drinkers myself, probably for the best on match days because I couldn't imagine myself on the away end if I was after a few beers. Don't think anyone wants to go through that.
I'm not dis Ed. I'm not dissimilar. If I have, I drink now and again, but rarely. Only if my son or my brother's with me, something like that. And my brother don't drink at all. Not now anyway. If I have a drink at dinner time, so like on a match day, I'd fall asleep by half time. I can't. One drink, I
Is that not
fall.
just the football that does that?
It's not just football. Well, it could.
Okay, fine.
At this minute, it could. It depends which half. Sometimes we've got a good half in as usually. We have one good half and one not so good half, and depending which way around it is, I can have a little nap. But anyway, so Burton fan extraordinaire, 18th in the league so far, 3 points above relegation, but only 4 points behind us. So it's a big game. Who knew?
I think if I were looking downwards more than up at you, Andy, I can promise you on that.
Well, we've played 3 games less than you, and we keep saying in Barnsley, we keep saying, "Oh, we got games in hand, we got games in hand." We don't win them, we draw them. Our
When are
games
they
in
being
hand.
played? Is my question. Winter or April now?
Well, we've
We
even
will.
we,
We will chance to roll around.
we even cancelled again. We cancelled last Saturday's game at Northampton because of the international break and whatever. Because we're so good, we got loads of internationals allegedly. So yeah, I think we're going to be playing Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at this rate.
Busy April.
It's
Busy.
it was already madness, and then 2 weeks without a game is just plain silly. In some respects, it's good that they've had a break, but it's just going to get balmy, and the squad we've got. I don't know how much rotation we can do that won't make a difference. So it's going to be interesting to see. So tell me about how you've been going. I've noticed that your last 6 games, it's been more or less even. You've won two, drawn one, and lost three. But at home, it's straight down the middle. Won three, drawn none, and lost three. So it depends which way you're going to fall, isn't it, against us. Last year, you lost against us. This year, at Oakwell, I thought, I think we were 2-0 up, and as we've done a few times, Ed, 2, the cry went up, 2-0 up, and you mucked it up. Or worse than that, something close to
Oh yeah.
mucked it up. Can't remember exactly where it was, but it sounded like mucked it up from where I am. But, my hearing's not as good as it used to be. But fortunately for us, we managed to get a very, very late third goal, which, I'm not sure we deserved, but we did. So there's not a right lot between us. So going to be interesting. I mean, look at the teams. The teams you played in the last month. Right, right. You lost to Wickham 3-0. You lost to Stevenage 1-0, and they're no mean teams. And Reading, well, and I know you lost last Saturday at home to away to Blackpool, where if I say an injury time goal, putting it mildly. But you've also beaten Stockport 3-0, Northampton 2-0, Bradford 2-1. Two really good sides in Stockport and Bradford, from when we played them both. So it's mixed fortunes, but no rollovers. 3 points above. How are you feeling?
I think we're the most confusing team in the division. As in, every game that comes up, you have no idea if you're about to see them look amazing or just completely flat like they were at Blackpool last weekend. We have just basically decided these last 7 games of the season, 6 of the games of the season, whatever happens, happens. It's impossible to predict what's coming because we seem to do better with sort of upper end opposition. The record with the top 6 this year has been pretty good compared to the
Yeah,
record with the bottom 6, just not been anywhere near as strong. You brought up that game back at Oakwell, which is so long ago now. It was
yeah,
August, and August is still like, well, it was last year, wasn't it?
yeah,
It's all that time ago. I think that was our peak moment of the season, Andy, because at half time of that game, we were second in the table. And after a game and a half, sat with a 2-0 lead, second in the division, and we got a bit giddy, and it all just completely fell apart in that second half. And everything we feared about Barnsley, your ability with long range shots, just whacked us in the face. And then you go and get that winner in 93, and we all just walk straight out of the way. And I just thought, what a waste of time this was. After them winning the opening day against Mansfield, that was the comeback down to earth that we just needed to really keep ourselves properly grounded and realize we're not going to have a special League One season, are we? We're going to have exactly what we've had before, just stay in the relegation battle and try to stay above it. And I suppose in some ways that's a positive because they have. It's not like some past previous seasons where you go sort of around to the New Year, Christmas Day, and they're rock bottom of the table, having to play catch up in the second half of the year, having a second half turnaround. It's all kind of been keeping heads just above water throughout. And I suppose we're trying to keep the heads above again and work out how many points we still need to do that. We're currently on 46. We had that many at the end of 2 seasons ago, stayed up on 46. Last year stayed up on 47 just because of how League One is this year, you can't feel certain that 46 is enough now, just because of how tight that relegation battle is below. So I think we're aspiring to 52. So 2 wins worth of results from these last 6, and hopefully that's enough. But that's where we are with League One this season. I've not really enjoyed the bottom of League One this season because, unlike past years, it looks like it's going to be a high points play to survival. And I'm still none the wiser, really, exactly who the teams are a go. But maybe Port Vale, you'd have to say with the situation they're in.
yeah. Rotherham, maybe.
You'd like that. You would like that.
Well, a lot of people say that they've done statistical analyses that 50 points is often enough. I actually think that the people who do things like that need to get out more. I don't know what I don't, spending much
I
too
think people
long on
just
the
create a
phone.
nice round number to make it sound right. It varies year on year. It's always the
Well,
case.
I think it's accurate because we're on 50 points. I hope it's spot on because we've for a number of games, a number of weeks, we've been sort of if we can string 3 wins together, we can be up there. If we lose 3 games on the trot, we're going to be down there. We've been literally for ages 8 points away from the top, 8 points from the bottom, and it just fluctuates from 7 points from the bottom, 9 points from the bottom, 7 points from the top, 9 points from the top, and people we win and we get giddy. I have to say, Ed, I don't get giddy because I've said throughout. So I said we ain't going to playoffs and we need to have some realism. And I'm never a person that says we're too good or got enough to not go down. Because I don't think anybody can say that. I remember Notts Forest saying that years ago in the Premier League, or people saying, "Oh, Notts Forest are too Nottingham Forest. I don't want to upset any Forest fans. Nottingham Forest. Oh God, you've no idea what stick I got from Ben from Door on tour about calling them Notts Forest. And to be honest, I started doing it on purpose just to wind him up. But he'll not watch this, so it don't matter. Um, Nottingham Forest too good to go down, and then they came down, and spoiled, if you like, Cloughie's legacy. Well, so January came and went, and certainly came and went for us. What happened to your January? What came and what went?
It was similar, really. I don't think much went apart from sort of surplus squad players that were just kind of loaned out or let go after
Yeah.
being sort of January editions from the summer of 2024 that just never quite worked out right. So they were let go. And the additions, I'm trying to recall what was done now. The impactful one was a loan sign to Wrexham. We seem to be slowly picking up every ex-Wrexham player that used to play to them. I think there's a rule in place now. If you play for Ryan Reynolds Wrexham, you have to at some point go to Burton, whether that's on loan spell or a permanent spell afterwards. So Paul Mullen's going to come here at some point, I presume, at some point down the line. We'll see what happens with that going
Be
forward.
nice.
Maybe not with the way I'm feeling about him at the minute, but Andy Cann in from midfield is probably the key addition. And then a couple of striker projects, I guess you say, guys bought from non-league with the aim of trying to find long-term development out of them, because Burton have had a new recruitment team in place for this season, and recognising the position we are as one of the smaller clubs in the league financially can't compete with the top end sides. They're able to spend, let's face it, seven figures on players. Our strategy has become, can we find undervalued footballers? Can we look at people who are seemingly surplus at quotes or playing at a much lower level than League One and realise these guys actually could handle League One, take them in and develop that? And the front two in particular, Jake Beasley and Tyree Shea, has been the perfect example of that, because Jake Beasley was surplus to requirements of Blackpool, seemingly no good. Tyree Shea playing in National League East League, never played League One before, 22 league goals between the pair of them so far.
That's right, yeah.
Been a really good pair of additions.
I was going to ask you about those because Jake has been scoring for fun, and Tyrese has not been far behind him. Not been far behind him at all.
No, it's a really positive partnership. They just complement each other very well, I think. Jake Beasley is a very physical forward, likes throwing himself about into challenges, might drop a little bit deeper, play a bit more of an attacking midfielder. Yeah. And Shade's got that turn of pace sat on the last man, and as a natural winger, he's very comfortable getting into wide areas and going at defenders one-on-one and getting around them, particularly likes playing against back three systems. I remember Exeter in particular was one of the games he really stood out in that occasion. So they complement each other very well. We stood very firm to hang on to them at the end of January because there were some very late bids that came in, including one to the Championships. The Shade hold firm because they are both absolutely integral to them completing this season and keeping themselves in the division. And no doubt the moment that final game at Leyton Orient finishes, the fan base will start worrying about losing them in the summer because, can't ever have a break from football, can you, Andy? You've got to start thinking about next season the moment the last one ends.
We had very similar feelings about Davis Keeley Dunn, but we did it in January. We waited to right at the end of January, and then, we didn't really replace him. We got Tom Bradshaw, but he weren't as a replacement. He was supposed to be coming to give him and David McGoldrick a bit of a break now and again. So they weren't playing 90 minutes every flipping game. And then Davis said he wanted to go, and so he's gone for whatever amount of money, because we never know. It's undisclosed. Somewhere between 2 million, 2.5 million, 4 million, 4.5 million. All we add-ons, who knows? Just don't know. Depends who you listen to. Just don't know. And I got to a stage where I think, well, don't care now, as long as we got some money in this summer. Our budgets are pretty low from what we gather. There's all sorts of reports that's saying that our budget's going to be even very, very well.
We've all seen that Conor Hurham interview at Lincoln, haven't we? We've all seen it.
Oh, God, dear. Yeah, it's not gone. Some have defended it. Some haven't. In fairness, and me, I think I'm more towards, for me, we're a bit of a final straw, really. I'm not sure. I don't really see what more you can do. I don't really see what more he can do. So, we did show on it last week about that I wasn't involved in, sadly, about whether or not he should remain or whether he should go. And opinions. I think opinions split. I think, if I'm honest, I think most people think that maybe his time's up, and I'm leaning towards win 4 games on the trot and things change, don't they? But it'll not get forgotten. Lose 4 games on the trot and it won't be forgotten. So I think it's all a bit of a mess, and I think possibly that time is up because we know final straw. You know, if you get confused and baffled by starting lineups, by substitutions, by tactics, and you don't really understand what's going on and why that's happening, and it's not explained, and it doesn't seem to have any particular positive effect generally on the field of play, and then that an interview that finishes like that about next season. I appreciate honesty, but it don't give much hope, and it's certainly not good. It's certainly not a cry to arms to sell loads of early season tickets for next season. So that's a bit of a bit of a worry from our point of view. Um, but when you said that you gain a lot of Wrexham players, I've not forgotten that you've got a load of RAP players and all. I thought it were Barnsley 2 FC. I don't know. I don't, you've got one that you got started last season, Kyron Lofthouse, who frankly I really rated when he came on for us.
Oh, Andy, we need to talk about Kyron.
Go on then, tell me about Kyron, then I'll go on about others.
Why did you never find a spot for him? I'm
I've
genuinely
absolutely no
baffled by
idea.
it. He is wonderful. He's absolutely brilliant. He plays right wing back, and he's basically given the license to just boss the entire right flank.
Yeah.
I know he's a very front-footed player, and it's great. And he has got, I think, 13 or 14 goal contributions this season
Good.
from league and cup combined. And I just absolutely love him. His ability to just take a man, drop the shoulder, get round and put a delivery in. And they added that he's 6'3", so you can attack from corners with him. He's got a couple of goals from corners. I'm genuinely baffled how you let him go this soon. I remember going back to last summer. He'd had that really positive loan. He had that massive output, but he'd been really positive addition in that team that turned around. And he was the one out the loanies from last season that we thought he might be attainable in because it feels like his position at Barnsley just doesn't seem to exist. And it was delighted when he came back into the summer, and he's been top notch this season. I really don't understand how you never found that spot for him because I seem to recall. I'm going back to last season again, Andy. But do you remember the game at Oakwell, the 0-0?
Yeah.
Just before he signed for us, and he plays out on the left, and he misses an absolute sitter.
Yeah.
In that game, and apparently we found out he'd already agreed the deal at that point. Right, so we're now wondering, did he actually miss that on purpose?
Oh, he did, Ben.
He was heading over at that point.
Shame on Kyron.
Could well be the case.
Shame on him. Now, I'll tell you, I was gobsmacked. I mean, we knew that he was naturally a right wing back. But for us, he often either played, if he started, he'd play left wing back or left wing or come on in those positions rather than what I would consider his natural position of right wing back. A couple of times he actually went up front. He played up front and did all right up front. And not just for future reference for you. If you struggle up front,
if he's deputised for us, he'll be a midfield. I don't want him up top. Not for me. There's other people for that.
Oh no, but if you got injuries to Bees, to Jake Beasley and to Shea, then he's not awful. I'm just telling you, he's not awful. He's not awful. I don't get it at all. What I think, and it's you can only give your own personal opinions, can't you? Connor decided in the summer, when he got the job permanently, right at the end of last season, that he wanted to play with a back four as opposed to how we had played, which is 3 centre halves and wing backs, and we got some players who were clearly considered wing backs. So Kyron was one, so was O'Keefe for us. Both of them clearly didn't figure in his thinking, in my view, to be right backs as opposed to right wing backs. So they were both shifted, and we got people like Tanai Watson, who's a right back, if you like, as opposed to wing back. And I think that has something to do with it. And what's happened is come January, Corey O'Keefe, we're out on loan at Stockport. He's come back and he's playing right back. We're still generally playing a back, still a back four, and he's playing right back. And he's been excellent since he returned. One of our better players, or one of our best players since he returned. And I can only tell you that I have absolutely no idea why we didn't want to play Kyron there, because he could have been a right winger as well as a right back.
Yeah, he could have, definitely.
I personally, some managers are stubborn, aren't they? Some managers know what they want, and if somebody don't fit, they don't fit. And for me, that's what happened. I'm really, really chuffed for it because I always liked, as a young player and coming through, always liked him, and he always tried. Didn't always work out for him, but he always tried. So I'm so chuffed for him that that he's showing the potential that we could see. So I'm really pleased for you, really pleased. So you've got him at one, and against Blackpool, you got another wing back of ours who were a right wing back, come centre back in Toby Sibic. How's Toby
Yeah,
going? It's been a bit of good.
he's not a wing back, Andy. You know,
He's not a
he's a
left. He's
centre
not a left
half.
wing
He's
back. That's for
certainly not a left
certain.
wing back. No, he's been playing there basically in a voluntary process because we've had a couple of weeks where we've had three left footers in the squad and all of them have been out. So there's been no one to play there. And he basically put his hand up and said, I'll do it for a shift or a few weeks, however long that is. The left wing backs are back now. We basically want him back in because it just doesn't look right there. Sibic has had I don't think Civic's the biggest fan to people at the minute. It's just a bit too error prone. You get a bit anxious when the ball goes
Yeah,
near him. You're not quite
yeah.
confident with his touch and his decisions. Maybe part of that is because he's playing out of position. But he has been, I suppose, really for a club in the position we are, he's been adequate. Be the way to describe him.
Well, I think we'd have described him in the personally. I'd have described him in the same way, which was why he sometimes did well. But exactly what you're saying, I think, from my point of view, that when the ball comes to him, you just worry.
Mm.
You worry. You just worry. We also worried, and it saddened me no end, the way that we treated Jasper Moon as a young lad coming through. He got, in my view, loads of talent, and we scapegoated him by playing him when he clearly when we were struggling and it was difficult for him, and he made a couple of mistakes. He were an even younger lad than he is now. We're a young lad making mistakes, and he got scapegoated. And for him, I wanted him to succeed at Oakwell, but for him, he's one of the players that I was really glad that left to go to yourselves, so that he could turn into the footballer that I think he is. I'm not saying he's the best thing since sliced bread, but I'm glad that he left for his benefit rather than our benefit, for his benefit. So tell me, Ed, how's Jasper doing?
Yeah, we got a lot of time to Jasper.
Lovely.
He's had a bit of a story himself with his Burton career, really, when I think about it. Came in on loan, what we're going about 3 years now, I
Mm.
think. Second half of the season. Really enjoyed him playing left side of a back three or sometimes right side of the back three. There's a goal line clearance I remember against Cheltenham towards the end of the season when we thought, right, we're buying him, get him in. I want him now. His contract was up with yourselves. It was a logical move for him to come across. And he lost his place in the team ahead of more experienced defenders. There was Sam Hughes, there was Ryan Sweeney, there was John Braith.
Mm.
These guys were just having that spot. And he spent last year on loan at Harrogate in League Two, where he was superb. He was one of the absolute best players for them in a team, playing a level lower, really showing his casing his ability. And he comes back into this quite new look team. And we're not entirely certain if he's got that spot for him because we feel like he's an outside centre back and he's a bit too slight in his build. And then you see him in pre-season and he's definitely muscled up a bit. He's not the same kind of skinny kid as you might have seen when he was sort of really early 20s, teens age.
Yeah.
He's got a bit more physicality into him. And when he's available, as he has been recently since returning, he's basically the heart of the back three now in that kind of Ryan Sweeney role that was there last year, where it's a very no nonsense, get the ball, head the ball, just clear it away, just deal with anything that comes towards you role. So he's really popular. People really like having Jasper Moon around and really pleased to have him back because he probably missed the sort of midpoint of the season with an injury similar to Thinderlap. So it's really nice to have him back in there. And all things said, there should be a good chance of seeing him on Saturday in the hard back three.
Yeah, I would have thought. Do you miss Ryan Sweeney? Because I always thought he were a good no-nonsense
I think you
defender.
have to really. He was just perfect for that central centre back role. Just an absolute towering presence.
And of course, although I think he's only played once. You've got our Jason, or what was our Jason Sraha. So I don't know what's happening with Jason. Is he?
Jason's been injured for ages.
I say,
Just haven't had a chance to see him. It's a weird one with him too because you think left-footed centre backs are really valuable, but he just seems a bit too big to be like a less centre back in my mind. You kind of want him a bit more in the middle just because he's such a big build.
Big lad,
but
yeah.
I think we prefer other guys in the centre of the team. I'm a bit curious what happens with him when he's back into next season because I think we bought him from Shrewsbury 2 years ago, and fitness maybe getting in the way of this. I just don't think he's ever really found a proper spot in his team.
And of course, although he's not with you at the minute, you've loaned him out a couple of times. Thomas Oh, I can never pronounce his name.
Alinauskas.
Kalina. See, and
Yeah.
he used to be. He didn't play much for us. In honesty, we were
No.
young. He didn't play much for us. But he's out on loan again, into so
I'm
he's not.
starting to see what you mean about being Barnsley too. Maybe we are Barnsley too, actually. I didn't realize how many
Well,
ex-Tykes there were in this group.
what would be worth doing is looking looking through your squad, see who don't play for Barnsley. Oh, I haven't played for
Harry Isted
Barnsley.
was here for a bit.
Harry, yeah.
A
Oh, I
bit.
loved Harry. I don't know what
Didn't
Harry was
work here.
like for you.
Didn't work at Burton at all,
All
sadly.
right, so he was a smashing goalkeeper for us.
And I've just
Oh,
realised too, talking
oh,
about goalkeepers, is he coming
yeah.
up too,
Which
Mr.
one?
Collins?
Which one? Oh, Brad Collins.
Yeah.
Was he your goalkeeper?
You look through our squad, Andy.
My God, of course he is.
He is
You see,
indeed.
I'll get confused with. I've met Brad Collins, and he's a pleasant enough lad. I got a bit confused because he left us and went up the leagues
Mm-hmm.
to Coventry, and we're playing for Coventry with two of our ex-defenders, Liam Kitchen and what's it, Thomas, Bobby Thomas, and then all of a sudden I didn't realise he was still with. Then he
No,
came,
he's our starting goalkeeper.
because you got both
Come
our
on loan, come on
goalkeepers at
loan for
one.
Coventry, made to get his confidence back up because he just kind of
Yeah,
lost his place at the Sky Blues, and he's had. There's been a few errors from him, admittedly, it has to be said, but he has put in several good clean sheet displays, and it's nice to have him back. We kind of think that's going to end with him signing permanently in the summer because his contract's up at Coventry, and it just feels kind of right for him to find another place. And he'd been on loan previously before. We had him yourself before he went to yourselves, and he did good things to yourselves. So that was
yeah.
quite encouraging to see. We got a lot of times with Brad from what we've seen of him previously, which
I'd have
is
him back. I'd have him back
7 years ago
immediately.
now. That first loan spell. Let's make me realise how old he's getting.
What we used to love about, well, love and not love so much at times about Brad is that he was for us who were an archetypal sweeper keeper. The number of times he came flying after his goal to, for a ball over the top, and our defence were like, and they're not much different. Were like stun slugs turning, like oil tankers turning to run back, and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh dear God, and all of a sudden Brad's there kicking it clear, or sometimes not quite kicking it clear.
Mm.
Um, but a good goalkeeper. I'd forgotten that. And I looked as well, and I'd forgotten that he was still with you. Well, do you know what? Apart from the two strikers that you talked about,
The rest of the team's all
apart,
Barnsley, is it?
apart
Is that
from
what we're
Beasley and
saying?
Shade, have you got anybody that haven't played for Barnsley or Wrexham?
Yes.
Have you got any other players that haven't played for those two
Have
teams?
you had George Evans before? Used to be
Uh,
Millwall and Wrexham
no,
midfielder.
no.
No. So there's one. We can basically go to the midfield if you want. George Evans, Keg Schalke's out of Southampton. Charlie Webster is out of Chelsea. McKinnon's on loan from Lincoln. Cannon, it's Hull and Portsmouth, I think, and maybe Stockport in there too. I think basically everything other than midfield is ex-Barnsley the way we're sounding at the minute. Midfield the front two, by the sounds of it.
It's so yeah, you're back. We'll call it back six, the back five, if you like, with the wing backs and the goalkeeper. There's four from us. Well, not on Saturday, obviously, but I hope you're keeping more clean sheets than us because we've kept three clean sheets across the
We're probably level.
whole of the whole of the season, not just in the league, across the whole of the flipping season. So we're not, we're not, moving about and changing about different players, but it's still song remains the same. Got a goalkeeper still that decides sometimes is really good, sometimes is the clown prince. And who knows which one's going to turn, which defence and all that. So, which apart from Beasley and Shade, is there anybody particular that you either mentioned or not mentioned that you think we should keep a close watch for?
Mm-hmm.
Out of interest as fans,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
good player.
He just came back last weekend. Charlie Webster on number 8. All was probably the best player in the team in the first half of the season before getting an injury against Blackpool during the November international
Yeah,
break, and he's only just returned.
right.
Curly hair, headband, number 8, out of Chelsea. So good. So good. Really can see that elite academy training in him. He's an attacking midfielder, very creative, likes shooting from distance, can get goals and assists. We've been basically waiting to see him return to a team sheet. Haven't been in kind of on the grass mode, as they call it, for weeks now. Just been waiting to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
him back in full training and able to be part of the squads. And we're hoping that's our little edge to the end of the season because him as the creative 10 behind our two strikers who could get goals, that could be the edge that gets us
Yeah.
over the line. And we just really want to see him back up to speed.
So the business end of the season, you got two strikers that are striking,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's handy.
him back to start creating, which is good when it's coming to squeaky bum time and what have you. So maybe positive. And Kyron, flapping Kyron, can't get my head around that. Can't get really upsets me. But never mind, never mind. Anyway, before I'm going to move on, Ed, because they're itching. I can feel them itching. Little Al and Andy, my co-hosts, are itching to literally, I think, get the teeth into you. Quite literally. So just keep looking behind you, just in case they don't burst in and
Well,
sink their teeth into you. So they've got a few questions that they want to ask you. So, wow, wow. I can sit back and just cry and think, thank goodness they're not asking me these questions. So here they are. Here they are for the first question, Ed. Get ready. Strap yourself in.
What does your club mean to you?
oof. That's the $1 million question, isn't it? What does the club mean to me?
For somebody that goes to watch other teams and doesn't drink alcohol, what does Burton mean to you, Ed?
Sometimes Burton makes me want to drink alcohol, and it can be the way. You know how disappointing
Yeah,
club.
I do. Yeah.
I see some people ask sometimes, how do you know you support a team? I think it's the results affect your mood. I think is the best way. That is the only. I do go and see a lot of teams. You say there's only one where the outcome of that game affects how I feel to the rest of the weekend. If they lose, you kind of just sink, especially in the aftermath on a Saturday afternoon. Sometimes you could be over it by the Sunday. Just depends on how the game's gone. And when they win, you're on a high for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 days, however long it is until the next one comes around. And that's really how it is for me. I've become way too emotionally invested in this team's results. Not good for the health at all. It's probably going to have a massive effect to years down the line when I get a little bit older. But that's the way it is. And also, as much as I do enjoy going out and seeing other teams, it's not quite the same unless they're actually playing there too. When I get the chance to actually see those boys and be in a different away ends, I've travelled all over the country seeing this team. 7 years now in League One, seen so many different stunts and so many times at Oakwell, for instance. I feel like I've done that every year for the last 10 years now. I still remember going there in the Championship when we scored twice in the first half and held on to the 2-1 win. I still don't understand how they equalised. Didn't count all those years ago. So that game probably should have ended 2-2 and ended a really precious 2-1 win for ourselves. It's you feel that level of connection that you just don't really feel with anywhere else. It's nice.
I had it. There's hope. There's hope. Don't worry, Ed. There's hope. Because when I was younger, exactly what you said. If your team won or lost, it depended on your mood. For me, for the rest of the weekend and well into the next week until the next game. But I grew up. Unlike you, I grew up and I got over it. But
I hope I do get over it. It'd be nice.
The sad thing, and I don't want to burst it for you, just keep thinking you can grow up. The sad thing is, it comes back, and it's these last couple of years, it's started to come back, and I try hard. I try hard not to let it affect my mood, but
it's the peaks and troughs of a football club, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah.
We can think of moments where we've been on top of the world on cloud nine for a season on season, had a sort of high point in history, and then there's times when you're more down the doldrums, so we say.
Well, this is a ridiculous. We've had a ridiculous situation recently where we've been winning, like I say, winning 2-0, and thrown a couple of times recently, thrown a 2-goal lead away and drawn 2-2, and it feels like a defeated. You could relate. And then there's other times like Wigan at home, we're losing 1-0, and we score a very late injury time equaliser. It feels like we've won, and of course we haven't. So it goes and then comes back. So it's the tragedy and the ecstasy of being a football supporter, both of your team and football in general, I think. So who knows? Right, I'll put the co-hosts on, the little ones back on, and they can ask you the second question. So here they come.
Have you got the next Lionel Messi in your academy? And who is it?
Wonderkids a strong word because it is League One. I don't think many League One clubs are going to produce a guy who, for instance, say becomes a England superstar international or anything like that and ends up winning World Cups for their countries, unless you happen to be Birmingham and produce a Jude Bellingham or anything like that. But currently, the big positive from this season has been the use of the academy, the way that we managed to integrate a number of players into the team to play their part, whether that's in particularly defensive midfield. And there's a lad we have called Suleiman Kribali, who only turned 17 back last August, early into the season, who plays in midfield. And the biggest compliment you can give is that if he starts, you don't have any complaints about it at all. He's very streetwise. He's very intelligent with the way that he controls the ball, shields it away from his opponents, wins fouls. There's kind of, those kind of niggly fouls where you let someone take the contact into you and you drop to the deck and get the free kick out of it, because referees are always so keen to give those every time. There's a very streetwise play to him. He's quite smart in possession. He's nothing too fancy. He doesn't try speculative long range passes or anything shooting from range. He's just really sensible and keeps it ticking over. And it's lovely to have a guy who's still so young, not only just passed his driving test, for instance, and he's looking competent in a League One midfield. And we're excited to see what could come through him for the years to come. And he's our number 41, Suleiman Koulibaly. And depending on midfield options, there's a decent chance of him starting this Friday.
Oh, I'll watch out for him then. Does he go down? Does he go down anywhere on the pitch, or does he wait till he gets to the edge of the box to go down?
No,
or in the box to go down?
He should have. Wickham should have conceded a penalty to him back in December. I remember that they got away with that one because he did get fouled on the box, but referee didn't give that one. So
It shows you. Oh, I'll watch out for number 41. You said.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch out for him. Let him ask another one. Oh dear, here they are again.
Who is your biggest rival? Which team gives you the ick?
Depends what generation you're from. I think location plays a big part into this. There's a very friendly rivalry, if that's such a thing, with Derby County, which I think the younger generation would kind of look towards them because it is the team up the road. And considering the two levels the two clubs are at, it wasn't too long ago they were in the same division, for instance. Derby had a couple of years in League One. We had a couple of years in the Championship with them. But the thing with that is, if you go back a third generation, we were basically an affiliate club of Derby County. So you'd kind of take players on loan every now and then to kind of be the annual pre-season friendly, for instance, between the two. So I think the older generation would say it's too kind of good relationship between the clubs for it to really an actual kind of rivalry, even if maybe when the games if the games ever come about nowadays, we do kind of like to try and get advantage over them if we can. Really, I think our main rivals would be down in non-league, which is Tamworth. Club currently playing in the 5th tier of the National League. Not faced them in the league games for a long time, but recently had an FA Cup game with them just last season where we lost in the second round on penalties at home, which is one of the real downer results of recent years to ourselves. And then they went and drew Tottenham Hotspur in the third round just to really rub in how bad that had gone for ourselves and forced extra time with them in the third round proper. So I think I would certainly say geographically it'd be Tamworth, who are Burton Albion's main rivals.
Oh, flipping a kid. Without any disrespect to Tamworth, I ask you, who's your main rival? And I expect you to say the team that you want to absolutely hammer 5-0 so that you've got bragging rights, and you come up with a non-league club. And that's the best historic. You can come up with.
It's historic. It's the rivalries form at the locations, and you've got so many around you.
We have. Historic's not the word I would use.
We do want to hammer Tamworth 5-0, but we just don't get many meetings because we're a number of leagues apart. But if you go back sort of 20 years,
go back 20 years.
They were regular
I don't
meetings.
Despair. I don't want to despair that it's a non-league club. Come on, you're the Brewers. You should be talking non-league rivals. You're a league club, League One.
Well, they need to get up into the Football League then, don't they? So they can have the rivalry going. For now, we're just looking down on them all the time. It's just the way it is.
So now you want your biggest rival.
Yeah, but the problem is, Andy, if I say someone currently in the league, the other side, they'll look at us and go, we don't care about you. Because that's how Derby feel about us. Derby and Burton is kind of like, when you dad moves your little brother into the same bedroom as you. And you had this you were separate rooms, everything was nice, you didn't have to worry about them. And now they're in your space and they're annoying. That's what we are to Derby. When we got up into the same league as them, we were in the same division for a while. We just kind of napped to their hip. They just got really annoyed at us because we're just like that little brother to them that shouldn't really be any of their business, but they had to put up with us for that little time. So sibling rivalry, if you want to go with that as an example of it.
They're only one division different, and they hadn't been. They've been in this division. Oh, never mind all them. So I don't know. I'm going to put them on for one final before we start talking about predictions and the game itself. One final question, so you can relax after this one. So here they are for the very, very final question, and then it's their bedtime. So here they are for it.
If you could sign any player from League One, Which Barnsley player would it be?
Don't say Davis Keeler Dunn, because if you do,
We've already had him.
This show
That's
now.
already done. We've done that one already.
I'm stopping this show now if you say that.
We've done that one already. Picking one for the whole league's really difficult because I'm trying to think about what I'd most
You're 3 points
like.
above relegation, Ed. You can surely pick one.
I know, but it's which one to go with. There's so many options.
I'll give 3 options then.
That's the thing for me. I'll go with one you're familiar with. I love Adam Phillips, and I have since he was at Morecambe and coming out of Burnley's academy. And I think I love him in this team. I love the idea of him in there, just making late runs to the box and attacking with late shots. So I'll go and pick Adam Phillips out of the Tykes if you give me that option. Happily have him.
You've no idea how much that cheers me up, because he's had a bit of stick, as Adam, over this season, particularly more latterly, and he's one of my favourite players.
Good choice, very good choice.
I really, really rate him, and I just sometimes he often either comes on as a substitute or goes off after about 70 minutes, and I don't know what Adam's got. For me, I don't know what he's got to do to play a full 90 minutes. So I think it's quite personally shambolic. But so I'm glad you've seen his. It's not just me. Glad you've seen his.
I've been a member of the Phillips fan club for a number of years, Andy. Number of years going back.
Well, that's me, you, and his dad Lee. Then that's
fine with me. 3 of us will enjoy it. We'll make it out.
Good enough for me. Thanks, Ed. They'll be chuffed with those. They're really chuffed with those answers. So let's go on about predictions. Let's look at the game and talk predictions. What's your feelings?
Like I say, we're not predictable. You can never tell what you're about to see from ourselves. There's a great home win over Bradford. Then we play what is a more key game with the Blackpool side that's just below us, trying to get out of the bottom 4, and we barely have a shot. We barely put an attack together, and we're beaten in the last minute. I think we basically set up to get a point away at Blackpool, which really disappointed people who wanted to see a bit more. We're very inconsistent with results at the moment, so it's tricky to know whether we might return to more positive things here or keep that way going. I'm maybe a bit more confident because it's a home. If it was Oakwell, I'd just say let's just get through this, because I've hated going to Oakwell for a number of years now. I still remember last year though, wasn't it? It was that we equalised late on, and was it Stephen Humphreys who grabbed a late winner, if I recall correctly?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So there is still the possibility of hurting yourselves, even though, to me, you kind of feel very close to being season done. I think Hurahan might think you're season done anyway. So it's a game. It's a game you'd like to see us take advantage of. I just can't ever feel entirely confident because I just don't know what's coming with this team. It's the problem for me.
Well, it's going to be an interesting game, I think, because if you don't know which Burton team is going to show up for the first half, the second half, or the whole match, I don't know which Barnsley is going to turn up for the first half, the second half, or the whole match. It could be 0-0 and nobody gets any shots on target, or it could be 6-6. It could be.
It could have either, to be honest.
Could be a great game. It could be as boring as hell. Time will tell, Ed. Who knows? We'll find out in a few days. Not be that long before it comes round. At least we've had a break, which is sometimes useful, but sometimes it means that it takes the edge off you. So we'll see. All the best to Burton, as you know, because I've always had a lot of time for Burton, more particularly since the incident at Oakwell with Stephen, with the I keep bringing it up every time I speak to you, with the air ambulance and what have you. So well done to them and all that, and the Burton players on that day, and the fans, but the Burton players on that day were exceptional, absolutely exceptional. So, always, whenever I speak about Burton, always thank them for that. So thank you to Burton fans, the 3 or 4 Barnsley fans and the 4 or 5 Burton fans that might watch me and you rabbiting on. we might get half a dozen views. If me and you watch it, I'll rope my family into watching it as well. So
I'll do that. I'll help you out.
Try and get double figures. We'll try and get double figures anyway. So, as always, yet again, as always, Ed, it's been an absolute pleasure. And yes, you are the star and the legend that I talked about right at the start of this. I'm so chuffed that you came on the show yet again and imparted your wisdom about your club and football in general. So many, many thanks. Much appreciated.
Absolute pleasure, Andy. Always good to talk.